Tja. Hi und welcome. Oh Gott, als würde ich zum ersten Mal.
Alles gut, alles gut. Du kannst es ja danach auch schneiden, also
Ja.
das ist ja das Gute dabei.
Du kannst dich mit mir unterhalten jetzt.
Gut, möchtest du eine Breathing Exercise haben vielleicht? Also 4-mal ein und dann 8-mal aus. Und 4-mal halten, genau, 4-mal in, 4-mal halten und dann 8 auf 8 dann aus.
War das Boxing oder was war das?
Nee, also das ist auch so. Ich denke, Julian hat bei irgendwelchem Session mal so gemacht. Ja.
Ich kenne das als Box, aber nicht als Boxing so, sondern Box, die Box.
Okay.
Glaube ich, irgendwo gehört zu haben. Also, nochmal. Welcome to the webinar of the People Accelerator on the topic of what are negative emotions and thoughts and how to deal with them. This is the first of a series of 10 webinars, which I'm going to present now in August and in beginning of September, just because that's the best time for us all to learn and to grow and to become the best version of ourselves. So as you have probably seen, those are webinars which are in the lunch break, so that you can just do it in between your day or also use the recording to watch it later. So no matter if you're in the Zoom room right now or watching at some point in the future, hi, it is so good to see you. My name is Galina. I'm the founder of the People Accelerator, and I love talking and teaching and exploring all around personal and professional development. So I'm very, very excited about today's topic. We are going to take approximately 45 minutes, and I have prepared a very high-tech presentation. So be excited to see my high-tech presentation. And now let's start by checking out what are the expectations. Why are you here? You can use the chat and let me know what do you expect from the webinar. Okay, this is something that I see very often. I have no expectations and let's see what I learn. What else do we have? I want to calm my mind. And why do you want to calm your mind? What is the benefit of it? To be able to focus on the good stuff, okay? Instead of stress. Okay, so let's now set the intention that at the end of this webinar, we have a calm mind. Let's just for a moment feel and imagine how it feels. Also to have some clarity, to have gained new perspectives, fresh ideas. To be inspired to act. And to have the courage to act. Good. Now you're ready to continue. So you're at your desks. Now please find a piece of paper, no matter if it is a post-it or a bigger piece of paper. And for the next 2 minutes, we are going to have an exercise. And now you already see the first slide of my high-tech presentation. So we have 2 rows here are the thoughts, here are the emotions. On the top, we have the positive ones, and on the bottom, the negative ones. Let's say, write down a couple of examples of negative and positive thoughts and emotions that you had yesterday. For 2 minutes, don't overcomplicate, don't overthink. One more minute. And now let's finish the exercise. And let me know in the chat a couple of examples about negative thoughts or emotions or both. You don't really need to separate them. Why didn't they call? Why did that person say that to me? I'm stupid. What I did was stupid. Feel fear, despair, shame, stress from the to-dos. What is what the cat wants to say to me? That's interesting. I'm too old. I didn't achieve anything yet. So like time is running out. Okay, let's breathe. Let's come back to the energy that we built in this room. But it is a beautiful exercise just to make visible. And if you have done it for you, you see a very visual representation of what is going on in your head and in your heart, in your whole body, actually, because it is very clear. The things that you are thinking more in the upper or more in the lower half. You can write it in the chat, approximately. But from my work with so many people, I would say most of them are in the lower, more negative. Okay, so let's spend a minute here. What does it mean that we have negative emotions and thoughts? At the end, I will name some authors if you want to read more, especially more scientific stuff about how thoughts and emotions are born, so to speak. But for now, I would classify them as negative thoughts and emotions. And normally emotions come from the thoughts that we are thinking. They are the thoughts and emotions which make us feel stuck and make us feel negative, make us feel not being able to move, to do. So they are disempowering. And the opposite one, the positive thoughts and emotions, are empowering us, and we feel like we can fly. We feel like we can do it. We feel that we are swimming, we are in the flow. So they come, just to summarize, they come from the memories that we have. They come from the personality type that we are, from the environment in which we grew up and in which we are right now, also from all the circumstances. And at the end, what counts, I'm a huge fan of very pragmatic approaches. That's why this webinar and also all the other ones are very, very pragmatic. And what counts at the end is, how do I recognize them and what do I do with them? So this is why I would summarize: negative thoughts and emotions are disempowering instead of empowering what we want. They feel heavy instead of light. We want to have light things in our lives. They feel like chains instead of what we want are wings so that we can fly. And where does it come from? Here, a little bit of numbers and statistics just to impress you. But really, the first time that I heard those numbers, I was so, let's see how it goes with you. So there are numbers that an average person thinks approximately between 50 and 80,000 thoughts a day. Just imagine that. 50 or approximately 80,000 thoughts a day. Let's take 50,000 thoughts. And out of those 50,000 thoughts, there are 95% which are recurring. So we think them again and again and again. And 80% are negative. So I'll continue with my high-tech presentation. We have, let's take the lower number, 50,000 thoughts, and out of them 95% come again and again and again. We wake up with them and then we think them and we go to sleep with them, and then 80% are negative. So why is that important? It's important because it shows us how that if we continue thinking and feeling and acting the way that we have been until now, what we are going to get as result is the same. And the good news is that, of course, we don't want that. We want the clarity and we want the easiness, we want the creativity and what else we had. And the good news is that we can change that. And the way that we can change that, I'm going to present, let's see how the time goes, but something between 2 or 3 strategies on how to change that. The first thing that we can do to change those numbers is that we imagine that what happens to us is like a buffet. Can you see it? So everything that happens to us is a buffet. Let's say we have an appointment in the afternoon with someone and they don't show up and they don't call. So what we normally think, just because of the way that we grew up and how other people interact with us and all the movies that we watch and so on, what we think is they don't respect my time, why didn't they call, and I'm wasting my time and it's not fair, and this is how we get angry or frustrated or just annoyed, and we feel like we lost time again. But if we take that situation as a circumstance which has many different facets, then you can see that this situation is not only vegetables or not only cheese, but there are also some nuts or there are also some fruits. And what we can say is, instead of getting angry, we can We can call that person and ask if they're okay. We can use the time that we gained to write those emails that we wanted to send, or we can use the time to just relax, or to call our parents or your sister, whomever. And I'm not telling that we always have to find the positive in a circumstance, which is true, but it is not what I'm saying right now. What I'm trying to say is that in everything that happens to us, there are at least 20 different aspects. And what the people do who normally have those 80% of negative thoughts is that they pick the ones that they don't like, or the ones that make them angry. And it is like having this beautiful buffet in front of you and you saying, but I have nuts allergy. And what I recommend instead is just to pick the food that you really want to eat, because I can guarantee that everyone watching this right now finds at least one thing that they really enjoy eating. So this is the message. You get the buffet. You don't focus on what you don't like, or on all your allergies or other issues, but you look on what can I pick from that buffet? What can I pick? What can I pick? And it is already a win if you find one thing that you like. So this is the first thing that you can do in order to change the numbers. The second strategy that I want to offer to you is to imagine that in that line, which is between the negative and the positive thoughts and emotions, there are a lot of moments which are crossroads. Just similar to you going from A to B in a city, you passing crossroads. It depends on you going left or right, or going straight forward, on how fast you are going to reach your destination. And let's agree on you having your destination somewhere on the top. And the good news is that the positive thoughts and emotion, or your positive state in general, is infinite to the, basically the sky is the limit, we can say. You can feel better and better and better and better and better, and there is no end. But the same, unfortunately, goes to the negative ones. So our goal is to recognize, when are we on a crossroad? At which moment are we on a crossroad, and what can we do to change the direction? And for this, I have my next slide. And the good news is that it only, so like this, what people do when you think in the train of thoughts of, oh, that person that I'm supposed to meet, they don't call, they don't show up, they are disrespectful, they waste my time, and so on. If you continue thinking in the way that most of the people think, and that you have been thinking until now, then very often you go in circles and you go from crossroad to crossroad, because you think about the person who you are supposed to meet, but then you remember that your boyfriend or your child did the same yesterday, and then you go in circles. And we know how that feels. It's not pleasant. It's not something that you want to have. And now you're maybe saying, yeah, but Galina, this is life. This is how we do things. And I have some good news for you. There are ways for you to go a longer way before you come to the next crossroad, which is, let's say, difficult or challenging. And the good news is that it only takes 17 seconds. So if you only keep your positive choice from the buffet for 17 seconds, not thinking about the nuts, if you have walnut allergy, but you keep the salami and cheese and grapes, which you love, for 70 seconds. in front of you, in your mind, doing something which is positive, then you are already in the positive area. And then the next good news, and this is something that I really recommend from the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza. I'm happy to link one of his videos in which he shows very, in a visual way, very beautifully done, how fast the connections in our brain, the neurons in our brain get connected to each other, which helps us to build new patterns of thoughts and new patterns of state of mind and emotions. Which means that if we keep the direction of 70 seconds, then at one point, when we reach 68 seconds, then we're already on a longer street. This means in terms of driving a car, it means that you can relax, you can enjoy just driving and speeding up a little bit, not having to decide, not having to think about, should I turn left or right? Oh my God, another decision to make. Or again, a challenging situation, but you can relax. Because after you have kept your attention on what you want to pick from the buffet, then you are on the longer street. And then when you manage to keep your attention on the things that you want to have for longer than a minute, let's say a segment of a day, which in our example from before is the whole time of the scheduled appointment that you had, let's say it is 2 hours in the afternoon, you are already on the highway. And then you are very well prepared for the next appointment or for some sports activity or meeting your girlfriend afterwards, whatever it is. So what does it mean? You can see it on that picture. It means that we are not constantly in here and then we have ups and downs, up and downs, up and downs. But when we keep our attention for 70 seconds, then 68 seconds, and then hour, 2 hours. Of course, sometimes we go in the direction of the minus, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that we stay in the green area, and then we are on the highway. So let me give you one example how I do it. It's another very practical example. This is why I put the plant behind me so that you can see. So this is one of my favorite plants. I love it because it doesn't need so much care. It needs water now and then, and it is beautiful. I find it beautiful. But it's not about if I find the plant beautiful or not. Just to give you an example about how I keep my attention on the grapes and crackers that I want to have. This is by, for example, talking to this plant. I stand in front of it and I talk to one of its leaves and I say, oh, you are grown up. You look bigger than you looked yesterday. Wow, you're so beautiful. And I touch it a little bit, or the very small leaves, I say to them, oh, welcome, you're new on the party. Welcome, nice to have you here. And you have a similar plant. Good, yours is bigger. So, and this is a way for me to feel love, to feel appreciation, to feel that I see something beautiful. I see something in front of me that I have picked, and I have seen that plant growing from this big to this big. And this is just keeping your attention out of the things that you don't like onto what you like. Yeah, give it some love. So this is basically one of my very practical exercises. And now let's go to the emotional scale. So, but let me ask now, do you have any questions or do you have any remarks? Use the chat if you have some, or should I continue? You love the method? Which one with the plant? Yeah, that's our goal. Let me make it green. Our goal is just to stay in the green area as often as possible, as long as possible. Not always. It's impossible to be always on the upper side, but as often as possible. And the higher we go, the easier it is to stay here. And we overcomplicate things so often, and we think that we need the big, expensive and complicated tools and methods in order to feel good. But as you just witnessed, it's the simple things that help us get our attention from negative to positive. And I don't say that there is only positive in life, but I believe that you know what I mean. Everything that happens to us has 20 plus aspects. I think that's a good moment also to give another example. Let's say women have an issue with their body very, very often. And so often I see women who, in my opinion, look so healthy and young and beautiful and slim, and they think that they are overweight. Let's take this example. And what I witness very, very often, in order to put negative thoughts and emotion in a context, is when a person thinks that they are overweight, it's enough for them. Let's say a woman 160 centimeters who is, I don't know, 70 kilograms. It is enough for them to meet another woman who is the same height and let's say 10, 20, 30 kilograms more. And then she sees that, oh, I'm not as fat as I thought. Or very often I see people who have some health issue, and for example, they can't walk as good as other people. But for them, it's also eye-opening when they see people without legs, for example. And I know this is an extreme example, but this is just how we people think. So this is why we need to put things into perspective and always look for what I really want, what I like, what I appreciate, what I want to put on my plate from the buffet that life offers me. So let me check the comments. All right. Yes, thanks for your comments. So now we move to our last strategy and last recommendation from my side, which is to imagine that this one is something that you can really manage, you can perceive it, and you can get an orientation about where you are exactly, because the different emotions are in a different way impacting us. What do I mean? You can imagine, if we stick to our two colors, green and red, when you are in the positive area, you're at some point, you are in between the colors, and then you go higher, Let's say it is summer, sun is shining, you get coffee, it is weekend, or you get a new deal at work, so you have something to celebrate, and then they play your favorite music, and you fall in love, and you come home from vacation or sports, and you feel like you're on the top of the world, so to speak. And the same or similar goes downwards. So what I recommend you is to always know positive is not equal to other positive emotions, or negative can have different shades. And for this, I will recommend you another method or tool, which I use I have been using for many, many years now. It is the so-called emotional scale. I will link it to the recording as well for those who are watching later on. And on this emotional scale, you have approximately 20 different emotions. So what I and my clients find very helpful is that when you have examples for emotions, you can use it as a calibrator to say, oh yeah, I feel here, or I feel here, or over there. Let's say in the middle is boredom, like I don't care, or I have no idea what I want to eat for lunch. It's okay, it's not bad, but it's not good either. It's like boredom. And then it goes down with you feel frustrated, like in our example with the person who didn't show up, or you feel disappointed, then doubt, worrying, blame, discouraged, angry, revenge, hateful, and then it goes down to grief, depression, powerlessness. And this is one of the emotions which unfortunately so many millennials that I work with have. So many people feel powerless. They feel like they can't do anything for themselves, for their families, for work, for the climate change, and so on. So we have a lot of work to do to go up the emotional scale, which from boredom goes through contentment, hopefulness, optimism, positive expectation, and believing that certain things are going to come true. Then through enthusiasm, passion, joy, appreciation, freedom, love, those are at the top. And of course, those are only categories. There are so many other nuances that you can feel, but this is only a method that I'm using to show you that there is a way for you to first determine how you feel. And then, and this is probably the biggest tip that I want to give you during that webinar. From the work with, I have worked with thousands of people in the past 15 years on their personal and professional development. And one of the biggest mistakes that people make is they're somewhere here and they want to jump right there. And they want to do it by one jump today. And they expect them to do it. And especially the well-educated and the very self-reflected and self-aware people, and at least the people that I have been working with in the past are female. Let's say more than 80% are female, well-educated, self-reflected, self-aware. They expect to make that jump on their own right now and to never go down again. This is why I really want to appeal and to invite you today just to get rid of the expectation and the need that you have and the goal that you have consciously or subconsciously to make the jump right away. And I invite you to now decide, or first hear me out and then decide if you want it or not. But the goal is always to go up one level. And then once you are up one level, then the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And then you go down, and then again up, up, up. And how do you do it? By the 17 seconds method. You can also put some things in front of you. You can go in the park and just pick seven different things that you like and keep your attention 2 seconds per item or 3 seconds per item, and then you already go up and up and up. And now if you want, you can decide for yourself and make kind of an unofficial contract with yourself to be okay with where you are, and then to have the midterm goal to be on the top of the emotional scale, but not to expect from you to do it instantly, to do it on your own without help, and to stay there. because this is the pressure that also creates most of the negative thoughts and emotions. Let me put it in an example or a picture. If we take again the example with the person not showing up at the appointment, and you get angry, you get frustrated. Frustration is right underneath the neutral line, and you get frustrated. And then you expect from yourself not to be frustrated. Your expectation from yourself not to be frustrated already pulls you down another level, because it goes in the direction of guilt and blame, because you feel guilty and you feel blameful towards yourself. Meaning, what would help you not to think further is to accept that you're frustrated and to say, oh, now my goal is just to feel boredom. I just want to feel boredom. And really accepting where you are and how you feel, and not expecting from yourself to pull yourself instantly. It prevents from going down. And then in that example, you can think something in the direction of being content with the nice weather. Let's say it's August, weather in Munich is okay right now, and just to say, okay, I'm content that I have an hour for myself now. It could have been worse. I could have been in a traffic jam or in a car accident or whatever. Then you feel content. And then to be hopeful, which is the next level, you can now again we are on the crossroad, because you can think they are disrespectful, which keeps you from the positive, or you can think something like, maybe because they are late, they are going to sign the deal without further negotiation, and this already pulls you towards hopefulness and towards being creative and towards appreciating your skills and appreciating other people. So, but now I don't want to go into the details of how the emotional scale works. Maybe we'll do it another time. I will finish by summarizing what we did so far. We discussed the numbers that people think approximately 50,000 thoughts a day, and 59% of them are coming again and again every day, and 80% of them are negative. Then we talked about every circumstance being a buffet, and if we focus on the food that we don't like, that is not healthy for us, we're going to be miserable. And if we pick only the food from the buffet that is good for us, we go towards the upper scale. And we talked about the crossroads, which are the specific moments that we have the choice of what we choose, with the 17 seconds, 68 seconds, and then a segment of a day, which puts us on a highway. And then the emotional scale, with my recommendation and invitation to you to have the goal to only go one step up the emotional scale. And I really hope that this gives you some new perspectives on thoughts, emotions, but also I really hope to empower you to recognize, to become friends, and then to steer, to show the direction that you want your thoughts and emotions to develop further. And I would say we can take 1 or 2 questions now, if you have some. It was helpful. I'm very happy. Okay, good. Let's finish now by one learning, and it doesn't have to be something that you share in the chat. It's enough if it is one learning for you, but I want it to be very, very specific. What did you learn? How does the time that you just invested make your life better? Your statistic about women who deal with everything alone, I found very eye-opening. I'm very happy about it. Like that it was eye-opening. I'm of course not happy that women feel this way, and this is not an official statistic. This is just the experience that I have had from 15 years working with thousands of people to manage my emotional scale just level by level. Let me know how it goes, and I will send you the recording. I will include links to the emotional scale, to the video of the lecture of Dr. Joe Dispenza. Please watch it. And also the link to Andrew Huberman, who in my opinion is a very modern scientist who also studies and explains in a very practical way how people think and feel. And then I invite you, if you want, to join one or more of the next webinars. We have topics such as how do I level my energy and motivation? How do I manage conflicts that I have with other people? How do I discover my strengths and potential? How do I manage stress in 11 seconds or less? Let's see how that goes. How many of you want to show up and learn that? And also how to find my life mission and to implement it in my day-to-day life. And then the last topic is going to be on building your business network. I really invite you, and if you have friends or colleagues who you think that might be interested, please send them the invitation as well. And this is it for today. Thank you so much. Thank you.